Before we get to riding, let's talk about this bike real quick. So this is the comp alloy version. It has a matte finish, like a grayish black. This is all shiny because I wrapped it with ride wrap. I wrapped all the front. I haven't wrapped the rear yet. And the reason why is because it actually came factory wrapped from the back here and the sides here. I'm probably gonna just wrap this section and this. Everything else is protected by this Psycho MTB mud guard. Again, guys, check them out. They are a great mud guard. They're not just here to protect from mud and water. They're also here to protect from chips and rocks and debris to get stuck in your rear triangle there from your bearings. Definitely check out Psycho MTB. I do have a discount code. I'll put it in my description. I also will be giving away 2 mud guards on my channel. The suspension is perfectly set up right now. I think I'm like at 30 or 40% sag in the front. And in the rear, I'm almost maximizing the travel. I got about 280 PSI in there right now. I do have a token coming in, so I'll be putting a token in, and that should help with that. The brakes, they're fine. They're the Code R brakes. No issues. Now, the tires, guys, these are a game changer. These are the Vittoria Mazzas, 29 2.6, 27.5 2.6. I haven't lost any grip here on the wet stuff or the rock garden and the root sections. This thing just grips and goes. No loss of control whatsoever. The dropper post is factory. No issues there. Now, this is the Ergon SM Mountain Pro in men. This is a medium large. Great saddle. Check them out. What else did I replace? I did put a cush core in the rear. I ordered the one for the front. It'll be here in a few days. But I am running the new cush core EMTB on the rear. And I'm running 22 pounds of air in the rear. That's my happy place. Running 23 pounds on the front. This bike has so much control. It's amazing. I just can't believe how much more playful this bike is compared to the truck rail. Now, the display. A lot of people say they can't see the display. I don't know what they're talking about because I'm riding in the bright sun and I can still see the miles per hour, the battery, and what mode I'm in. Right now it's in trail. You can go turbo or eco. 3 modes, so eco, trail, and turbo. And I'm happy with that. What else should we talk about? The battery. The battery is perfect, guys. I mean, where am I at? I'm at 89%. I've ridden about 8 miles right now. That's crazy in trail mode. This comes with a 700 watt hour battery. To replace the battery, or if you want to take it out when you're charging it, there's one Allen bolt. You take it out and the battery drops. Now, the new Gen 3 comes with this battery cover. It has a spring retention, and then you just pull this off. Let me get it. Like that. And the battery will drop out, or you can charge it like that. They came out with this new plug with an O-ring to make it water resistant. Just be careful, guys, when you're charging this thing. If you turn your crank arm while it's charging, a lot of people break this door off. So just be very, very careful when you're charging this bike, when it's in your garage or your house or whatever. But I do love the new system here they did for the charging port. Other than that, guys, no issues. Like I said, I'm going to be upgrading the stem and handlebars. I have never used these handlebars, and I think they're going to add a little nice touch to this bike. I can't wait to show you guys when they come in. Well, let's get to riding, and we'll talk about the comparison between the Trek Rail and the Turbo Levo by Specialized. I was asked to do a comparison video between the Turbo Levo and the Trek Rail. My last bike was the Rail. I sold it. I was going to get the clearance model at the Trek store, but they sold it, so I decided to go with the Turbo Levo. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I spent a lot of money on a Trek Rail, so we're going to do a comparison at a stock level. So not changing out the brake pads, not changing out the brakes or the wheels or the suspension. That's the most important part, is the suspension. So this is going to be basically, there's a lot of water in here today. This is going to be a comparison just if you have a factory turbo Levo and if you have a factory rail. The turbo Levo just feels more natural compared to the Trek rail. What I mean is the motor. The Bosch motor, it has a huge kick of power when you start pedaling. Even if you have it in EMTB mode, and obviously if you have it in turbo mode. I forgot, is it turbo or boost? Yeah, it's turbo mode. So when I have it on trail mode with this bike, the turbo Levo, it's got eco, trail, and turbo. So there's only 3 modes. The Bosch has 4 modes. So, but that doesn't really matter because you still feel an intense amount of power when you start pedaling. And the motor is very, very noisy and clingy compared to the turbo Levo. Right now I have it in trail mode and you can't even hear the motor, which I like. It feels like a regular bike. It pedals like a regular bike. It has more of a natural feel to it throughout all power range. I don't know if it was from the software update or the different motor or whatever Specialized did, but I feel that the turbo Levo just feels like a regular bike. It just gives you power when you need it. Number 2, suspension. When I had my factory suspension set up on my Trek, throwing the bike everywhere, I put tokens in, I adjusted the air. I did a lot of things, and the bike was not staying planted to the ground. Why? I don't know. Sorry about that, guys. I'm going through different creeks here and the brakes got wet. But it's beautiful. The bike was not staying planted. It was just getting thrown everywhere. And I almost crashed a few times. So that's why I upgraded the suspension on the Trek pretty fast. This bike, the turbo Levo, I put another token in. It came with 2 tokens from factory. And I bought another one off eBay. So now I have 3 tokens in the front. I don't have any tokens on the rear, and the bike just feels more planted. It's still nimble and playful, but it doesn't get thrown everywhere. I don't know if that's because the mullet setup or whatever else Specialized did, but I just feel like this bike is more playful, but at the same time, still very controllable through turns, jumps, switchbacks, whatever you throw at it. Like right now, I'm doing climbing and my back tire is planted. It's not getting thrown anywhere. I have great traction. The power delivery is amazing. It's a great bike. I honestly don't think I'm gonna upgrade the suspension right now. I'm definitely gonna upgrade the wheels. I haven't had any problems with the wheels after the Specialized warranty the rear wheel, but I am a heavier rider and I feel more comfortable having straight spokes and having 32 spokes instead of 28. Just to make me feel more comfortable with the bike, I am going to upgrade the wheels to the Industry 9 300 Enduros. They are designed for e-bikes. But other than that, everything else is good. The brakes are actually quite impressive. These are the Code R brakes, and they do what I want them to do. I know a lot of guys on the forums will replace the pads. They'll get the Galfer pads. I had their rotors and they're really good. They're a little more thicker compared to the factory rotors. So I might, when the pads get worn out in this bike, I'll probably upgrade the pads, and that's about it. I'm gonna leave the brakes itself. Oh man, it's a lot more green here. It's some sections are covered up with brush, but it's all right. But yeah, guys, I am very happy that I went with the Turbo Levo. No negative feedback as of yet. I am very happy that I put on the Psycho MTB mudguard, because the mudguard is just not protection from mud and water. It also protects from chipping from rocks, and debris to get stuck in the back where the bearings are, and it protects the bearings. So I do love how they designed that mudguard to protect the whole rear end of the bike. But look at that, guys. I just going through all this chunky roots and rock, and this bike just wants to go. This bike just pedals through anything. I am very happy with the Gen 3. I can definitely tell the difference between the Gen 3 and my last model I owned was a Gen 2 Levo. The geometry is definitely different, and I'm very happy how Specialized decided to go with a mullet setup from factory with a 27.5 in the rear and a 29 in the front. Now, my last video I said I was running the cush core in the front. I'm actually running cush core in the rear. It's the new EMTB version cush core. I am going to get one for the front. I actually ordered on Amazon. It'll be here. When is it going to be here? I think a couple days. So I'll be putting that in the front. So I'll have cush core front and rear. The reason why I decided to go with both front and rear is that if I get a flat, I can ride the bike, 3, 4, 5 miles with the flat to get back to my vehicle, and not worry about hiking with the bike back. That's the reason why I'm going to go with front and rear. I do have a patch kit, and I do have CO2 cartridges, so I'm not really worried. The biggest difference is pedal striking. Even with the shorter cranks that I had on my Trek, I would still get pedal strikes with the Hope cranks, the 155mm cranks. These are the Praxis 160mm cranks, and I'm not getting pedal strikes like I was with the Trek. And the Trek was a 29 front and rear. So I think with the geometry, even though this bike's at 27.5 on the rear, I still have more clearance. And I'm happy with that, because the bike is very playful, being a 27.5 in the rear and still having the clearance. So it's a win-win. So that's another big thing I've noticed is pedal strikes on the Trek compared to the Turbo Levo. Now, as I mentioned, the Trek is more power. It's got 90 Newton meters compared to 85. The power delivery is still higher on the Turbo Levo, but it's more smooth. I don't know how to explain it, guys. The bike feels more smooth, but it's got more power. One thing I do want to mention, my Trek rail was, when I upgraded the frame, it was carbon. That carbon frame was rated for 300 pounds. I didn't know this, but the Trek has a higher pound capacity compared to the Turbo Levo. Their Levo Comp Carbon is rated for, I believe, 275 pounds. And the S-Works is rated for a lot less. And I talked to Specialized, and it said that the S-Works, to make it lighter, they have less layers of carbon. So that's why the weight ratio is a lot lower compared to the Comp Carbon model. So that's one thing you guys have to keep in mind. If you're a heavier rider, don't get the S-Works, definitely. But if you're, below 275 with gear, you can get the Comp Carbon and be okay. Now there's YouTubers out there that are over 300 pounds that ride the Specialized carbon bikes, and they have no issues. I don't know what's going to happen if they do a warranty on it, but that's another story. Now the alloy Turbo Levo is rated for 300 pounds, and that's why I went with the alloy. Also, I've owned all carbon and alloy bikes. Like I said, this is my 8th e-bike. I feel aluminum has better feeling once you get into the gnarly stuff like roots, river garden. I think the aluminum absorbs all the impact, and the carbon is more stiff. So you feel the impact from jumps and going through boulders, and so it's a lot more playful having the aluminum model, to me at least. I prefer the aluminum model. Weight isn't an issue. I'm not out there trying to race against time and see how fast I can pedal through a loop of a track section. I'm just having fun. I'm out in the great outdoors, enjoying this weather and trying to get a workout in. So I don't really care about having a light bike. So I went with aluminum, and I'm happy with it. I'm gonna keep it simple. Now, stay tuned, guys, because I am gonna be replacing the handlebars and the stem. And these bars and stem, they're pretty cool. So I'll be making a video on that when they come in. I think with this bike, it's gonna be a huge improvement. Man, this bike is just so nimble and playful. I'm telling you. I can't even hear the motor. Now, I do have hearing loss working at the railroad, but I can't hear the motor. I don't know if you guys can hear it on the camera, but I can barely hear it. Like right now, I can hear it a little bit. But it's just crazy how quiet the motor is. You know, the Shimano EP8 that I had in my Commensal, and the Bosch I had in my Cube and my Trek, this thing is a lot more quiet. Now, I know Specialized had issues with belts breaking and the motors going out, but I think they fixed that with a different belt system. I think they updated the material of the belt and the grooves, so the belts don't snap like they did with the first generation and second generation. I believe this is the Bros 2.2 that I'm running on this Gen 3. And I did have an issue with my Gen 1, but Specialized did take care of me. The Specialized dealer in Arizona had a motor in stock, so the bike was in and out within like 2 days. So, you know, that's another thing, guys. You got to keep in mind what brand is going to support you and what brand has more distributors in your area that will help you out if you have an issue. I feel that Specialized has a better network of distributors throughout US than Trek. I mean, Trek has a store here in Little Rock, but I have much more Specialized dealers than Trek. So that's another thing you got to keep in mind. I have a store like 2 miles from my house that deal with Specialized. So if I have to get a software update or any kind of warranty work, you know, I don't have to drive across town. So that's another reason why I went with Specialized. And their warranty, they're fast. I mean, I had a stump jumper and the frame came with a hairline crack, which I didn't even notice. The shop noticed it when they were adjusting my derailleur, and they took pictures, submitted to Specialized, And within like 1 week, they sent out a new bike. They didn't just send out a frame, they sent a whole new bike. And they told the shop, just, you know, give me the whole bike, or, you know, if I have some aftermarket parts on the bike I already had, just swap them over and I can keep whatever else I have on the new one. So that was quite impressive. I really haven't had any issues with Specialized at all. So, you know, one thing that you guys will read on forums and on videos, if you buy a Trek and if you buy a Specialized, you get more for the buck on a Trek. That I will agree with, because of the components. Now this is a comp alloy, so it came with the Fox 36 Rhythm Float X on the rear, so it came with pretty good hardware. I mean, Code R brakes, so I'm pretty happy with that. But you definitely don't get your money's worth with a Specialized compared to other brands. That's being honest. But you're paying for service and you're paying for the warranty, I think. I really haven't broken any frames on Specialized. The Trek warranty I had, I don't know what that came from. All I know is I bought the bike and I noticed it was slanting to the right on the handlebars. I don't know if it was from me riding. I never crashed a bike. I don't know if it was from factory, but they did warranty. It just took forever because the original bike shop, they weren't really helpful, and I had to go to an actual Trek store to get them to help me. That was another reason why I decided to go with Specialized. I didn't like the warranty process with Trek. They were beating it around the bush, and they were gonna replace the frame with a different color frame, and all the stuff that I bought didn't match. So I was stuck with taking the frame credit and buying my own frame so I can match the components that I had on my Trek that I already bought. But anyways, it's done and over with. I sold the bike. He got a really good deal actually for all the components I had in that bike. I mean, that thing was basically a 9.9 model. It was fully wrapped with access. The dropper, the shifter. I mean, that thing had everything. So he got a really good deal, and I'm happy that he's happy. But now I have a turbo Levo. So long story short, guys, I'm happy with my purchase. I would honestly pick the turbo Levo over the Trek. That's my own personal opinion. If you guys are shopping around, do your research. But I feel that Specialized has a better network for service, and their motor and battery is a little better. I mean, my Bosch, I had a 625 watt hour battery, and this has a 700 watt hour. Now, the new Trek bikes, they come with the smart system and has a new display, and they do have a bigger battery. I think they come with a 750 watt hour battery. So technically, you are getting a bigger battery on the new Treks, but I never ran out of battery. I'm a heavier rider, and even with a 625 watt hour, I can get 2 rides in and still be like at 25% battery left. And that's me doing like, you know, 15, 20 miles at each ride. So I guess it's also where you ride and how far you ride. But I think you will be happy with a 700 watt hour battery and a Specialized. I don't even know if they even make bikes anymore with 500 watt hour batteries. They probably do. But I definitely would stay away from a 500 watt hour battery because that's pushing it. But yeah, guys, if you have any questions about the Levo or the Trek or any bike, let me know. I'm more than happy to answer the questions. And as always, smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll catch you on my next one.